Okay.
Hi and welcome back, everyone. I wish you all a very happy Sunday morning. Myself, Kritika Goyal, and I welcome you all on behalf of Young Indian Theosophists Group. So, we have entered to another interesting session of the series of the book Ancient Wisdom by Annie Besant. And today, we are going to know about part one. So today we are going to know about part 1 of chapter 11, Humans, Ascent of the book, Ancient Wisdom by Annie Besant. So without wasting any time, let us sit in meditation for a minute. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he's also one with every other. Come back, everyone, and thank you for joining. So, today's talk is going to be facilitated by, as we all know, Brother Shikhar. Brother Shikhar Agnihotri became a member of Theosophical Society in 2008, influenced by his mother, who is a long standing member of the TS. He is the founder member of Pragya TS Lodge and Maitri TOS group in Lucknow. He is a national speaker of the Indian section since 2015. He is more interested in practical implementation of theosophy in daily life. He has conducted various study camps, seminars, workshops, youth camps for Indian section at various places. He has been given the duty of international speaker of the TS since 2019. Right now, he's volunteering at the international headquarters of the TS in Adyar. And he has started a YouTube channel, Pragya CS Studio, along with his wife, Catalina, in May 2020 to make theosophy accessible to as many people in various languages like English, Hindi, Spanish, and Portuguese. Wow. So without wasting any more time, let us all welcome him for today's talk. Over to you, Brother Shikhar.
Thank you so much, Kritika. And thanks to you for doing the moderator's job so great all the time without getting tired for so long. And good morning, everyone. And once again, we are back here with the chapter number 11 of this book. But as you might have noticed, I changed a little bit the title of the chapter because as also this is the internet, we are having soon the International Day of Women, and also it is celebrated at International Month of Women, and a lot of discussion about feminism, of course, along with the spirituality is going on. But also one thing that came up that we should aim to use a gender neutral language. I mean, in all areas. So especially in spirituality, where maybe earlier the word man or he, like also we are using in the prayer, may each who feels himself as one with thee know he is therefore one with other every other. Some people have changed it to may all who feel themselves as one with each other with thee know they are therefore. So similarly, I took the liberty of changing this title, which is man's ascent, to human's ascent, because basically when these words were used, they were used for the human being or the stage that is called humanity. But in during the course of the time, they were misunderstood, or they became biased to represent only one gender. And as we see, there was a lot of differentiation, discrimination between the genders. So that was one thing. Now, to begin with this chapter, before this chapter, we have read so much about the planes and the bodies of a human being. In this chapter, in a very concise and clear way, Annie Besant gives the whole journey, shares with us the description of the whole journey that we pass through. And the human stage is just a link of the chain. I mean, it is nothing special. It is unique in a way, but nothing special as we might think ourselves as superior to other kingdoms or other life forms. But it is different. It has its pros, it has its cons, but at the same time, it is not superior, but it is just a link in the chain. But before that, I would just like to share with everyone. As we all know, there are three great truths that we study in theosophy. The first of them is the soul of man is immortal, and its future is the future of a thing whose growth and splendor has no limit, as you can all see, the first one. So along these lines only, Annie Besant begins this chapter when she writes that this ascent of a human being, or this Jivatma, is so stupendous, and which already some people, some individuals have gone through, and some are still in that process, that when we begin to imagine that is it really possible, we begin to, it sounds to us, to a common person, almost next to impossible. Because we are living here with all our tendencies. And the other day, which I was talking to somebody, and the idea came out that the things like anger or jealousy or hatred, all these are given to us by God, and they are our nature. That is why we are human, and there is no way that we can surpass them. In the present stage of humanity, we can, many people may think, but that is what this study that we do, the knowledge, and when we practice it, we come to know no, that it is entirely possible to go beyond the lower nature and get closer to our higher nature. She says from the embryonic soul, like from the beginning, when the soul has just come down and has begun its journey of the lowest savage, when the first human body is taken, to the liberated and perfected spiritual soul of the divine man. It seems very scarcely credible that one can contain in it all that is expressed in the other, and that the difference is but a difference in evolution, that one is the only at the beginning and the other at the end of a human's ascent. Every saint has been a sinner in the past, and every sinner is the future saint. If we take a magnet has a north pole and a south pole at the two extremes. If standing on the north pole, I think that possibility of South Pole is zero. That is a very limited view or limited approach that I might have. But if I look the magnet as a whole, I can see that North and South Pole are the two ends of the same magnet. Same is spirit and matter. Matter, there is a sentence in the Mahatma letters in which it is said that spirit is the condensed spirit is the rarefied matter in the highest plane, and matter is the condensed spirit in the lowest plane. So spirit and matter are not two different things, as we see when these planes are formed, that at one end the same atom, atmic level atom, we call divine universal consciousness, but the same atoms, when they come together, make the next level, and then the layer after layer, and then we have the physical plane. It's the same, but ultimately if we go inside those atoms, it's the same atom of the spirit. So that's what she's saying. And in this, if just by a picture, I would like to show in this image, if you can see in all these planes, that it starts from the elemental kingdom here. When we come down, elemental kingdom 1, elemental kingdom 2, then elemental kingdom 3, then we come to mineral, and then plant kingdom, and then we go to animal kingdom, and then we come to human kingdom as per the evolution. And from that we actually realize the full potential of being in human kingdom. And once we realize that is our full potential as a human being, it is shown as spiritual. That is that spirit is now governing, the spiritual nature is governing all the 5 planes of our activity, from atmic till physical. So that's what she's saying, that for some people it may be very difficult to imagine that Buddha and Angulimal are at the same place, or Ram or Ravana are at they may call them one as human, other as Rakshas or something else, but basically everyone is at some place, at some stage of evolution. It is just a link. And she says that below the one stretch, the long ranks of subhuman are animals, vegetables, minerals, as I just showed, elemental essences, and above is the superhumans, which we know by different names. Kritika, would you take care of the muting, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The Chauhans, Manus, or Buddhas, builders, or Lipikas, whom we can name anything like Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, or Allah, or Jesus, or whatever they want to name. But basically, it's one journey. It's one, we call it monad, or the unit of consciousness that passes through all these stages and finally emerge out as the full, which reflects the full potentiality of the divinity from itself. Then till now, what we have traced is the human being's ascent from appearances of the embryonic soul to the state of spiritually advanced, to the stages of evolving consciousness from the life of sensation to the life of thought. And she is now telling what we have studied till now in the chapters before, how we saw in the physical plane, astral plane, desire body and mental body, and how the cycle of birth and death in the 3 worlds, and which is governed by the law of karma. So due to which it is harvesting, sowing the seeds, taking the harvest, and which is also offering the person the opportunities for progress. We are now in position to follow that Jivatma, that spirit, in the final stages of his human evolution, stages that lie in the future for the vast bulk of humanity. For now, for us, a Buddha or a Jesus or a Krishna are a very, very rare phenomena. But for the future generations or the future humanity or the future races, this will be a common daily life phenomena, because that will be the stage of evolution. And I read somewhere in the theosophical literature also that about generally there are 707 lives that a human, once we come in the human stage, a person takes from a savage to for reaching to an enlightened being. It is not a fixed number, or it can be less or more depending on the effort of the soul. But and out of those 777, about 700 of the lives just pass through in fulfilling in the control of strong desires and emotions and passions, and the next is about 70 maybe in more civilized state, people trying to live an ethical life, moral life. And once that individual decides or finally realizes the transient nature of this world and see that that suffering is inevitable as long as you are in the physical body in this world. Suffering, I'm not saying suffering uh, to everyone, but suffering I am saying in the sense as in Lord Buddha said, that this world is suffering, in the sense only through wisdom and knowledge we can go beyond that suffering. Situations will still come, the disease, the death, the weakness, the old age, the disabilities of whether mental, financial, physical, everything will come in this body. Only if we have the wisdom and knowledge, we will not be affected by it. So in the last, after seeing this, in the last, when the individual decides that now I want to walk this inner path, then depending on that conviction, it's said about 7 lives. Again, it is not a fixed number, just as a reference. The soul travels very fast, and based depending on the exertion, the effort that the individual puts on oneself. And in those 7 lives, the remainder of the karma which is stored, the sanchit karma, is quickly fructified. So in the life of such people who are walking on this path with like sincerity, you will find a lot of events will happen, a lot of events, not only events, I mean a lot of ups and downs, a lot of storms kind of situations, that a lot of interactions, meeting different people, and all those sorts of things, which otherwise would have taken many births. But since the person has applied to law of karma that I want to walk this path, so more is given to that person, individual, to finish off in this birth, so he or she becomes freer for the next birth to work more with more freedom. So that's what now we are going to study. And this path that is from here on is called the probationary path and the path proper. The first is called probationary path, while the after once the chela or the disciple is accepted, it is called the path proper or the path of discipleship. And we'll take that in that order. Now, Now, Anibesian says that as a man's intellectual, moral, and spiritual nature develops, he or she becomes more and more conscious of the purpose of human life and more eager to accomplish that purpose in his own person. As we just discussed, that after so many lives, Buddha has said that in the past we have shed so many tears uh, over when we were suffering or in dukkha or pain, that oceans and oceans of those tears can be formed. And once repeating all this in every birth, we come to realize at some point of our evolution that repeated longings, desire for earthly joys, pleasures, followed by uh, possessing them, and then followed by a weariness. Like, suppose I have a desire of possessing something, buying anything, a car or an object, or maybe to have a company of someone. The moment I have that desire, a weariness or anxiety comes. Why? Whether I will be able to or not. So I start arranging my resources, my things to get that thing. When I have got it, still the weariness may remain that I should not lose it. And if it is a very exclusive, very expensive, so to say, thing, it will be even more, so that nobody takes it away from me. So that's what she is saying. And when we see, also one very important thing to see, our mind always tricks us that once this desire of mine is fulfilled, I'll be happy. But let us ask this question to ourselves. Has it ever happened? Yes, I remember when I was in college. So the aim for as a student was to get good marks. And first year, if I get good marks, okay, everything will be okay. No, then second year, then third year was even more important, because then the campus interview will take place. So the companies will come. So then was, okay, if I get selected in this company, I'll be, now then it will be set. Okay, got selected. Then, okay, as I went to ship as a cadet, as an intern. So it was like a lot of, learn. Of course, you learn only while you work. So thought, okay, once this cadetship is over, then it will be better, more relaxed, and you can work freely. But then, as on and on you go in your ladder of desire up and up, that imaginary peace of mind is always beyond. The only thing that we get is more and more, of course, responsibility and duty as you go higher up in the work, any kind of work. And along with it comes a lot of, if it is not taken properly, the stress. The basic thing is, one after the other desire will keep coming and coming. And another thing we tend to do is to secure our life. We like to secure things, secure our relationships, secure our physical body, financial things, emotional things. But in my interaction with people, including almost everyone, that there is not a single person who does not have some sort of thing in life. Somebody has some medical thing, somebody has some, something is going on which keeps the mind engaged in, which is called a problem. So no matter how much we try to secure things, as might have people did in Ukraine or any such place, and suddenly something happens and all that security goes out of the window. So once at the level of the soul, we see this. that no matter what we do, everything is going to go away. And is death is something that teaches that to us. Teaches that to us in a very strong way, that whoever has taken birth has to pass on. And if we understand it, well and good. If we don't understand it, then we will suffer for it. So once the soul learns this, that whatever I get from here outside, whatever I have worked so hard for, everything that I have taken from outside is not going to give me the peace of mind. How does it profit me? So then at that point, she says, the soul cries that all is vanity and vexation. Hundreds, thousands of times have I possessed, and finally have found disappointment even in possession. So many times I have done this, and ultimately everything turns to zero. I mean, nothing, everything I lose, every time I lose everything. And this vision or this understanding I feel is Vairagya, what she's coming to next. Because Vairagya, some people think is desirelessness or detachment, or I think that what we are saying, non-attachment, is the result of this understanding. And that's where comes the real, or one of the meanings of Vairagya. Normally we separate it as V plus Rag. V Rag means non-attachment or detachment. But there is one more way or etymological way to see Vairagya. It's Viranj and Nya. Ranj means color. Viranj means without color. So when we start perceiving things without color, and color here means all our conditionings, the colors, the colored glasses with which we see things, with which we see the relationships, with which we see the world as it is. And when we are using the colored glasses, we are not seeing the truth. And when we start seeing the truth about relationships, truth about the things, truth about this world, isn't it non-attachment a natural response to it? Is it? I mean, it's just a thought to think that once we see that, that is a natural response that is going to come about. So that's what she's saying, that these joys are illusions like a bubble on a stream, and fairy colored, rainbow hued, but bursting at a touch. So yes, everything we try to make very beautiful on the outside, but just a touch and it will burst. So then the soul realizes that I have had enough of these shadows, but now I desire, or I aspire for the eternal and the true. Because the freedom from the limitations that hem in me, that keep me prisoner amid these changing shows, because these are the things that keep me prisoner. And then the first cry of the soul for liberation is the result of the realization that all this, were this the earth, all that poets have dreamed it, were every evil swept away, every sorrow put an end to, every joy intensified, every beauty enhanced, were everything raised to its point of perfection, he would still be aweary of it. Because many people think that if everybody had money, if everybody had food to eat, if everybody had basically roti, kapla and makan, the shelled food and the clothes and the shelter, that would be a happy world. No, Once that is done, I mean, if you go in that so-called developed world, it is all there. But in America itself, if you see, there are universities which are now having the courses on happiness. They are having a course on happiness because the students, they are becoming so stressed out and depressed and afraid of failure that they have to introduce a course, because our education system is nothing what it should be like. It is more of a literacy thing rather than educating us. And then in this stage of evolution, even the heaven more attractive to him, because initially people think, okay, we do good things here, so we'll get a lot of pleasure in the heaven. But even there, it loses its attractiveness. Even its intellectual and emotional delights no longer satisfy the individual. Why? Again, they also come and go, impermanent. And when we are talking about the impermanent and permanent, actually, the only thing that is permanent that we study is that para Brahman, that absolute immutable principle. Whatever is manifested is impermanent, whether it is for 1 day, 1 week, 1 year, or thousands of years, or millions and millions of years, like the Manvantara. So whether it is Brahma ji or Vishnu ji, or for that matter, anything manifested, but anything which has a root, a form, is going to be dissolved at some point of time. And that is why if in Theosophy or in Brahma Vidya, HPB says in Key to Theosophy, talking about God, that it is only the immutable principle that we believe in. Yes, there are hierarchies of beings which govern this world, this manifestation, but they are also working under some laws. So they do not ask for our worshipping them. What they ask for is our cooperation. Cooperation to help them in making this manifestation a better place, in the sense easier for evolution, helping in evolution of all the beings in it, all the units of consciousness in it. That we can only do when we know ourselves who we are, and when we ourselves are free from those limitations and foundations which do not let us see without the colored glasses. So sometimes this realization of the worthlessness of earth and heaven is this is another state she's talking about, that many times we have this feeling of vairagya, and that is sometimes, I think, people have heard a word shamshan vairagya. Like shamshan means cremation grounds, where people go and burn the, or cemetery you can say in different religions, where people bury the dead body. So when you go there, and if somebody is little observant and sensitive, unlike the people who also go there to gossip, that if that person is little sensitive and observant, he or she will see, or at least temporarily see, that one after the other bodies are coming. I mean, at the same rate that the babies are born in the hospital, maybe at the same rate or at little less rate, the bodies are coming for being burnt or destroyed. So we do not see that while living in our safe, secure environment of a colony, of our society, in our house, where, because that is made in the outskirts of the city, and people sometimes even avoid going to that part of the city. So for temporary things, maybe seeing this, maybe some loved one has betrayed me, or some friend has, or maybe some loved one has died, or something has happened. For a temporary period, the person feels this vairagya, that the transient nature of the world. But again, after some time, the earlier habits of thinking and the surroundings and the people, they uh, the glamour of the elusive joys again pulls that individual back into that. And so like this, she's saying some lives may pass, some lives even may pass full of noble work and unselfish attachment of pure thoughts and lofty deeds before this realization of emptiness of all that is temporary becomes the permanent attitude of the soul. Like then uh, the basically the basic attitude, the basic understanding, the foundation will not change. Then she says, but sooner or later the soul once and forever breaks with earth and heaven as incompetent to satisfy his needs, and this definite turning away from the transitory, this definite will to reach the eternal is the gateway to the probationary path. That what I shared in the beginning, that last 7 births, when after seeing all this, the individual decides with the complete will that now, I mean, there is nothing here that can satisfy me, and because it's all temporary, I need to walk the path, or I need to get in touch with something eternal. So the soul steps off the highway of the evolution. Highway of evolution, she has used a word. uh, just like every on the highway, I mean, if you stand on a highway, you'll see the cars and all sorts of vehicles passing one after the another. So the soul steps off that highway to climb up the mountain side. And if you read the book In the Outer Court of Annie Besant, it gives a very wonderful and beautiful description of that. That one is the road that is going round and round and round of the mountain to reach the top, which is the normal road of evolution. But once the individual realizes this, instead of following that route, he or she goes, just mountain climbing directly without the formal road or something. But for that, uh, the soul or individual needs certain tools. So what are those tools we'll be talking about? Because I mean, you cannot just do rock climbing or mountain climbing without anything. You need certain tools and equipments, some rope or some hammer or some nails, or at least some shoes or gloves to hold on things. So the work which has to be accomplished by the human who enters on the probationary path is entirely mental and moral. For rock climbing, we need physical tools. But for this path, we need entirely mental and moral tools. And the individual has to bring oneself to the point at which that individual will fit to meet the master face to face. But again, here the very words master needs explanation, as we see some in previous chapters. A question was raised that who is this? Who are the masters? So although we had the discussion, but it's better I read what Annie Besant says. There are certain great beings belonging to our human stage of being, stage of evolution, who have completed their human evolution, and to whom illusion has already been made as constituting a brotherhood and as guiding and forwarding the development of the race. So these are the human beings who have already completed their human evolution, as I showed you that picture in which it is beyond human, the spiritual stage. And then there is a Sangha, Siddha Sangha, it is usually called a Sangha, group of coming together of such beings who help in the evolution of the development of the forms, life forms, under the law of karma, other laws of nature. And these great ones, the masters, they voluntarily incarnate in human bodies in order to form the connecting link between human and superhuman beings. And the avatars and all the spiritual teachers that we have all. And these voluntary, so they are form the connecting link between human and superhuman beings, which means, suppose if they were so self centered that once they have evolved to a certain level, they would just, never look back. That would have been a disaster for the remaining ones here, because then everybody is left to their own device, nobody to guide them. So that is why their sacrifice is thought of as so valuable, even of like Buddha. About for Buddha, it is said that he has, even though he is at that stage of nirvana, but he refused to go into nirvana until and unless there is individual suffering or sad or unhappy on this earth. So imagine the amount of sacrifice that these great ones make, and what do they expect from us? They don't expect us to worship them. They don't expect us to make temples or churches or mosques in name of them. The only thing they expect from us is to see things. I mean, be at least, or just understand, basically. They are not going to force their wisdom on us. The only thing they want us is to see the things, and then at a later stage help them in this work. That's why they always call themselves as the elder brothers, elder brethren of humanity. And so uh, they permit those who fulfill certain conditions to become their disciples. So just like once the person has reached at a certain stage, they accept them as disciples so that their evolution is hastened, and then they qualify themselves to enter this great group of beings and to assist in its glorious, which is called brotherhood, and to assist in this glorious and beneficent work for man, for human being, or for the whole manifestation. The masters ever watch the progress of everybody and mark anyone who, by the practice of virtue, by unselfish labor for human good, by intellectual effort, turn to the service of everyone, by sincere devotion, purity, draw ahead of the mass of their fellows, and render themselves capable of receiving spiritual assistance beyond that shed down on the mankind as a whole. So here comes the understanding of the word kripa. What is kripa? Like many people, if we think from a worldly view, if I get saved from a disease, or if I get saved from an accident, or something like which benefits me, or if sometime if I pass an exam, I say, oh, that have been I have received the grace of God. But we never ask this question, why a certain individual or a group of people only receive the grace of God. Or so here is the answer to it, that these masters or these spiritual beings, they are showering their blessings to everyone, just like the sun does to everyone. But the sun uh, cannot force a person who has covered oneself in a dark, black, unlighted room to make him to come out and take the sunlight. So it's the effort on the part of the individual to open the room, come out of the room and receive that sun, light or warmth. Similarly, these blessings are all the time being showered to everyone. But if a person, by his or her efforts, by the good life, the pure life, the devotion, shows oneself to be capable of receiving more, then he or she receives spiritual assistance. And we have so many examples, especially in India, how such people are helped by these masters. Because for the masters, are the distributors of the spiritual energies. They keep distributing their energies for the welfare of everyone, for the human evolution, and the use of these for the swifter growth of a single soul is only permitted when that soul shows a capacity for rapid progress and can thus be quickly fitted to become a helper of the race. And this becoming fit does not have to do anything with developing Kundalini, developing extrasensory power, developing clairvoyance, developing thought reading. No, the only thing that the masters look for in a person is the purity of heart and the selflessness. It doesn't matter what gender you are, what clothes you wear, what country, what religion you are. As long as there is purity in heart, the person is entitled. But that purity of heart is difficult to bring, because for that is all what we are going to read in the next Sunday chapter, how to do that. So when a person by his own efforts, utilizing to the full all the general help coming to him or her through religion and philosophy, has struggled onwards to the front of the advancing human wave, then the watchful guardians of the race, then the opportunities are put in his way to test his or her strength and call forth his intuition. Now, this is another interesting thing. We normally pray to God for the consequences, like I want this, I want that. But that is not how the things work. If I say I want to progress, how will I progress? If I want to progress from standard 1 to standard 2, our approach is God is there. He will put me in a standard 2 from a standard 1. The only thing I have to do is go in the church or go in the temple or the mosque, offer something, and I will be put in grade 2. But we all know, is that possible? Until and unless, of course, the director or the principal of the school is your relative. But what is the reality? From going from grade 1 to grade 2, what one has to do? One has to study the syllabus of the grade 1. If there are exams, then give the exams and go to grade 2. Simple as that. So when we will to walk this path, to become more loving, more compassionate, more selfless, what do we expect will happen in our life? Isn't it very natural that the situations will come in our life, and in those situations we have to practice compassion, practice selflessness, practice love, or be love rather than practice love. And that's why, especially when we say why the good people have more difficulties in their life, it's because they have offered themselves to be more capable to walk this path. So that's why they are getting all these tests in their daily life. Because not everyone is able to handle such things. And in handling such things, the inner powers are woken up, like intuition. And in proportion to how much successfully a person has used the intuition and dealt with the situation, the glimpses, more and more, basically in simple words, more and more help comes to him or her from the higher things, higher. And then as and when the person progress on this path, it becomes a cycle of goodness. You do good thing, then more help is given, then you do more good things, then more, and then it becomes a cycle of goodness, just like there is a cycle of viciousness. So then the entrance on this path places the person in a position of a disciple or a chela on probation, and someone that master takes under personal care, recognizing the person as a person who has stepped out of the highway and walking what we in Hindi we call a pug dandi. Pug means the feet, and dandi means a stick. So the path which is as narrow as a stick made by the walking of the people, because not many people have walked on this path. So we all have to make our own path. Or in other ways, what J. Krishnamurti says, the truth is a pathless land. We cannot walk through it by a highway, because highway is something else. And we have to get off that highway. But there is another path that is called Raja Yoga, that is also called the highway. That's another thing. The time is, okay, we have about few, oh, okay, so I think, yeah, we are about to reach the, so I think I can complete this part for today. And how is the working of the master? We just saw that the teacher, the guru or the master awaits for the people. That is another thing of the people of this path. And what we should learn from them, they never impose themselves on anybody. That no, you have to come and walk this path or something. They wait patiently. Similarly, if we understand something, we know something, even we 100% know that we know better than the other person how to do this thing. We should not interfere in the learning of that person until and unless either that person asks our help or we are placed in charge of training that person. Otherwise, the only thing we will do by interfering is make the journey of learning longer for that person. So that teacher awaits the person at the very entrance of the path. And even though the new person does not know the teacher, but the teacher knows the efforts and directs that person, leads the person into conditions that will help him best in the progress. Like we all see, if we read the biographies of H.P. Blavatsky, Colonel Olcott, Annie Besant, Aurobindo, Sri Aurobindo, or anyone, even Annie Besant. I mean, there are instances in everybody's life, and even in our lives, sometimes we can observe that how some unexpected thing led us to some pearl of wisdom. So that's how they watch. And at some times the road may seem lonely and dark, and the young disciple may think that everyone has left me. But a friend who sticks closer than a brother is ever at hand, and the help withheld from the senses is given to the soul. So that's how the masters work. They help via dreams, via visions, until unless they directly accept the person as a chela. But how to become I would not say rather to become a chela, but how to walk this path of inner journey. The qualifications, there are 4 definite qualifications that the probationary chela or disciple must set himself or herself to acquire, that are by the wisdom of the great brotherhood laid down as the conditions of full discipleship. And we all have studied them at the feet of the master. They are not asked for in perfection, but they must be striven for and partially possessed before initiation is permitted. That is important thing. Of course, if somebody has perfected all these things, it's well and good, but to enter this path, at least the sincere effort should be shown, should be there. And we all know that first is discrimination between real and unreal, and the distinction grows clear and sharply in the mind of the person and gradually frees the individual to a great extent from the bondage which bind the person. And based on that, the second qualification, that is indifference to external things or desirelessness, comes naturally in the wake of discrimination. So basically, as I see, discrimination and vairagya, or vivek or vairagya, are basically the same thing. Vivek is the perception part, and vairagya is the action or the consequence. Like vivek is the cause and the vairagya is the effect of that cause. So okay, I think I might not be able to complete it today, so I would stop here, and I'll try to do it in the next Sunday session because time is almost there. So I would stop here. Thank you everyone for listening patiently. Thank you, Kritika.
Thank you so much, Shikhar sir, and we'll continue from the next two qualifications from in the other class.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was so interesting a session that even I didn't realize that only 3 minutes are left. So I think let us open the forum for question, answers, and suggestions because it's already time. And I am already seeing Vimal ma'am and Taral sir. They are eager to say something.
No.
Okay.
Just putting my video to mark my presence.
Taral sir, you wanted to say something? Oh, he has written something. A beautiful flaming Shikharji, a messenger in painting behind you, and you as a messenger in foreground with your soft thought.
Can I read myself?
Yeah, please.
Matlab, Shikharji, really, it was really wonderful. With your, I have put that with your soft, thoughtful and massaging voice, which massages our thoughts. A messenger behind you, the painting, which we have discussed in great length in Triveni last time. And you in front, the framing such beautiful. I have taken a snap and put it on our group of young people. You can see it. It's such a wonderful feeling that I was almost drawn away out of my home and into some other world. What a wonderful idea that in the morning we can go into such a session with. Actually, it was like a meditation. Thank you so much, Shikharji. It's a wonderful idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Saral sir, for such a lovely feedback. I would like to invite Vasumati ma'am for her suggestion.
सभी लोगों को मेरा बहुत बहुत गुड मॉर्निंग, सुप्रभात। और ये सेशन बहुत अच्छा था वास्तव में। और मैं, जैसा कि तरल सर ने कहा कि वो एक मेडिटेशन में भी आंख बंद करके ही सुन रही थी, और जितने भी पॉइंट्स इसमें हाईलाइट किए हैं, खास तौर से विवेक और वैराग्य का, ये सच है कि हम अभी तक जैसे उसको अलग अलग समझते थे कि विवेक एक क्वालिफिकेशन है, वैराग्य। लेकिन जिस तरह से शिखर ने अभी हम लोग को एक्सप्लेन किया कि विवेक अगर आता है तो वैराग्य उसका इफेक्ट है, नेचुरली जब विवेक जगेगा तो मेरे हर एक्शन, रिएक्शन और मेंटल प्लेन पर भी उसी तरह का अप्रोच पैदा होगा। तो ये मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा, ये वाला पॉइंट, तो उसको मैंने शेयर किया आप सबसे। बाकी ऑन द होल और मास्टर्स किस तरह से हेल्प करते हैं, और ये सच है। मुझे स्वामी आनंद जी का एक स्टेटमेंट याद आ रहा है बनारस में, कि ऐसे ही हम खाना खा के वहां से निकलने वाले थे और वो स्वामी जी वहां चेयर पर बैठे थे। अचानक वो बोले कि क्या शिष्य ढूंढ सकता है टीचर को? क्या शिष्य ढूंढ सकता है गुरु को? गुरु ही ढूंढता है ना? तो वही जो इन्होंने अभी बताया, वो चीज एकदम मुझे याद आ गई। बहुत वर्षों पुरानी ये बात है, लेकिन यहाँ पर जब भी कुछ ऐसा आता है तो उनके कहे हुए छोटे छोटे स्टेटमेंट मुझे याद आ जाते हैं। तो शेयर करने के लिए आपने अपॉर्चुनिटी दी. थैंक यू सो मच.
थैंक यू सो मच मैम. आप जब भी आते हैं कुछ इतना इंटरेस्टिंग बता के जाते हैं कि वो हमेशा याद रहता है.
थैंक यू बेटा. गॉड ब्लेस यू.
Thank you, ma'am. Today I can see Catalina, ma'am, for the first time in YIT.
No, she must be in this. Actually, there it's night. She's.
Oh, okay.
So.
Yeah, I just wanted to invite Gomti. Maybe she's hesitating to talk. She had a question regarding the next book. Gomti, please share your thoughts.
Yeah.
You're not audible, Gomti. You're not audible.
Thank you, Shikhar ji, for this wonderful. Able to hear? Now you're able to hear?
Yeah.
Your video and audio is stuck, ma'am.
I think you switch off the video and
Yeah.
just.
So there was a. Okay. Now able to hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah. So Shikhar ji, thank you so much. Lot of learning for me from today's session. Especially when you said about the 777 human births that we all undergo from the time we evolve as the first human, like a savage, and then we go on evolving, and about the last 7 births being that of a higher level of evolution, the highest one. All that was a great learning, and the metaphor that you used about the sun wanting to give light to everyone, but then if the receiver is not ready, then it doesn't reach.
Yeah.
So that was also a very great learning for me. And all manifestations on this earth is impermanent, you said. So whether it is a year or 100 years or millions of years, everything is impermanent. So lot of learning for me. And one thing I wanted to ask was, there is this book, As a Man Thinketh, which was put up in the group.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind taking up a chapter. I just got the book and I'm reading it. So when will we have that session? If, I have to prepare.
Yeah, we'll have that session from in April, Gomati ji, because from April, because this book we will be finishing in March. Next Sunday I will be there, and the next two Sundays will be our brother Dhruva, who is also here in the meeting right now, and 2 sessions he will be taking, and then in April, first Sunday, we can start. Do you think it's enough time? You can take 1 or 2 chapters in that?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay, that's great. So we'll begin with you in April.
Okay. I will start preparing, and maybe I need all the senior people also to be there.
No,
sure. You should all be able to guide me.
Sure.
Forward for your guidance also.
Yeah, no, this is a very learning platform. Here we question, we discuss, and everybody thinks and shares their understanding. So no problem.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, once you will be start attending the sessions, you will come to know that it is very easy to speak here. Like there is no hesitation, and everybody helps, be it a senior member or a very fresh member.
Thank you.
And I see we have our sister from Philippines, Michelle Simtoko, who is also very young, active theosophist, but I don't know if she is on the microphone. But
hello.
Hi,
I came in late, so I wasn't able to hear your talk. So I'm gonna review it on YouTube.
Okay. Thank you for joining. And Michelle also has her own YouTube channel in which she shares a lot of theosophy and other things also. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So someday we'll invite her also for a talk.
Yeah.
I see so many people, but it's time.
And okay, just one last one. Brother Avanish Mishra also has joined, who actually we met a couple of days back. But Avanish ji, are you there? Would you like to share something? Or maybe next time. Okay.
I see Rajiv Gupta sir also.
Rajiv Gupta ji. Yes, Rajiv Gupta ji is also there.
Hello.
Hello, Avnish ji. Yes.
Shikhar ji, thank you so much for adding me this very good, can say, this thought of Vairagya and Vivek. So I'm very happy to join this conversation. So, today is a the very first day to associate with this new tool. So I'm happy to, or I'm very much grateful to you to adding me in this journey of enlightenment. Can say.
Thank you. Thank you for joining, Avnish ji. We'll be in touch. We'll keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Dr.
should I-
Rajiv Gupta ji se, Dr. Rajiv Gupta ji.
Yes. Rajiv sir, if you would turn on your microphone and
Okay, maybe it's okay.
okay. Sister Mansi is also here.
Oh, हाँ, मानसी जी भी शेयर करें कुछ.
Hello, good morning. Nothing to share. Acha tha, it was nice. I was listening. We continue further, and I'm glad the session is going on good. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I have this little announcement to share. So today at 3 p.m. in Prayas Lodge, we have a session by Brother U.S. Pandey on insights into teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So last time we had the workshop of Bhagavad Gita by junior members. This time Brother U.S. Pandey will be giving his lecture. So it will be a really nice session. All of you can join.
Kritika, if you can just share the meet link also in this group, people can take note.
Yeah, definitely, I'll share. Or else I'll put it in the group.
Yeah, you can.
So is there anybody else who would like to give any suggestion or ask any question? Otherwise, we'll proceed.
Just one more announcement for today evening. Yeah, Pragya CS Studio. That is a very special talk by Brother Vicente Hao Chin from Philippines, Theosophy and Corporate Life. So please do attend. It's a very practical, going to be a very practical session. How even those people who are in corporate life or business or jobs or different things can apply Theosophy. So 5 o'clock Indian Standard Time and 7:30 is Philippines time. And I will share the links again in the WhatsApp group.
Okay, sir, definitely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir is raising hand. Yes, sir. Sir, you are on mute.
Shikhar ji, with your permission, can I share this Tuesday meet?
Sir, take permission from Kritika ji.
Kritika ji, मुझे screen दीजिए.
Please, sir.
Please दीजिए screen. Why I am sharing this, because I think it will be learning for every young person. This week's subject.
Share कर लीजिए sir.
हाँ. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
Yeah, we are sharing this time life and works of AP Synergy, the first generation theosophist. Mr. Raut is the speaker, Naveen Kumar ji in Hindi and Ramesh Dolia in Gujarati. So I think Shikhar ji can throw more light on AP Synergy, because he was, I think, one of the very important theosophists of the first generation.
Yes, and AP Synet is the one who received the most number of letters from the Mahatmas. And the book that we did study, that letters of Mahatmas to AP Synet, is a very good book. A lot of theosophical teachings directly from, I mean, it's like first generation direct theosophical teachings from the Mahatma. So that is a very important thing to know about EpiCnet also, and to read that Mahatma Letters book also.
Thank you. So from paintings, we are this time again into books. All are welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing this. So let's proceed. If anybody else has nothing to share or inform, if everybody permits me, we'll proceed.
Sure.
Okay, so let us sit in silence for a minute and absorb all the things we have learned today so that we can implement them in our lives. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kashit Dukh Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Thank you so much, Brother Shikhar, for such an enlightening talk. We'll be waiting eagerly for the next session. And thank you so much, everybody, for joining. And let us meet next week, same place and same time. And please be safe.